everyone, and welcome back to Ranked, where I am ranking every single Harry Potter movie, ending with the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I am so sorry that this video is so late, you guys. I had all 7 of the previous videos done, and I uploaded the first one. I thought, surely this will motivate me to film the last one within a week so I can have it up on time. It's like a month later, I'm finally doing it. I'm sorry, but let's just get right into it. The Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now, going into this was the first film of all of these, types of movies that have split the last book in a series into a two-part movie, and I was really interested in how it started, because the last movie ends with Voldemort finding the Elder Wand, and so you're like, holy crap, Voldemort has the Elder Wand. Well, what are we gonna do? So I was really wondering, it's like, okay, when we end with him getting the Elder Wand, we barely have time to do anything other than just the heist and go to Hogwarts. And yeah, that's all the time we really had for. So I'm not sure, the more and more I think about this, the more and more I'm looking forward to the TV show that they're making of the Harry Potter, series. They're going to change all the books into episodes, and I think that's probably going to fit this franchise a lot better. Look, when it comes down to it, this Harry Potter franchise is a flawed one, and that's not terrible. Most franchises are flawed ones. I talked about the X-Men franchise last time. It has some amazing movies that I really, really like. Also has some terrible movies that are just downright despicable. It's not a perfect franchise. I think of the original Lord of the Rings. And some people who are big fans of the books might be like, oh, well, that was terrible. They changed so much stuff, left so much stuff out. Where's Tom Bombadil? I don't care. I feel like the books, the movies themselves, especially the extended edition, are really good and perfect, and I wouldn't change anything. And I feel like whenever they talk about rebooting Lord of the Rings, I'm like, it's not going to be as good, because Lord of the Rings was made in that perfect time where it was the right amount of CGI, was advanced enough that you could do great things with it, but we weren't overly reliant on it. So they also made actual armors. They made actual sets. They actually built a whole sets in mountain ranges and stuff like that. They actually went on location still. It wasn't all on a CG set. So it was at that perfect time, and I don't think any other movie, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's just going to be all CGI. And that's because that's what The Hobbit was, and that wasn't even that much longer after. So it's I'd rather just leave that as it is. Where the Harry Potter franchise, I feel like a reboot can only improve. I think they can take the lessons and improve on them. And so let me just get into the stuff about the Deathly Hallows Part 2. The Deathly Hallows Part 2 is a decent adaptation out of everything, and it does change a few things here and there, but for the most part, it does stay on the track of the stuff that happens in the book, and I don't feel like it's, the last half of it is perfectly structured for a movie. There's no real, set-up, payoff, or build-up payoff, there's like a movie should. There's just, here's a heist, and then here's the defense of Hogwarts, and that's how basically the movie has to go down. And there's good elements in there, and I'll get into that, but I feel like it does feel like I'd rather just watch Harry Potter, The Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 as one watch. I'd rather them combine them into one really long movie than to watch them separate again. I feel like separately it just feels like it doesn't work as well. But let's go into it. I feel like let's just pick up some of the stuff that I did like about it. There's fun scenes when they break into the vault, where Hermione is playing as Bellatrix Lestrange, but really it's Helen Bonham Carter pretending to be Emma Watson, and that's really, really funny. Just the way she acts, it's just so, her face. There's something about her face that feels so Emma Watson-ish in it, and I just really thought that was really, really good. Then we have, just the scenes. There are, okay, let's go into the best scene. What I think the best scene of the movie is. Let's just go into that. And this was hard because there was actually a few scenes that I was really like. One of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise is when, in the book, when Harry finally gets the Death Stone and he's surrounded by all the people that, not just his parents, but all the people that have died recently, like in this battle. Lupin is there. And Sirius Black is there, and everyone is there supporting him as he's willingly walking to his death because he is a Horcrux. He's realized that he himself is helping keep Voldemort alive, and he has to willingly let himself die in order for everyone to have a chance. And the bravery that I feel on the character, of how he's willing to do this for him, and that everybody is there to support him as he has to make this terrible, terrible sacrifice, is really moving. And the movie does a decent job of portraying that scene. But I think for me, I'm going to put as the best scene, it's this reveal that Snape was a double agent, or double agent, whatever he was. Because the reveal that he has been working with Voldemort this whole time because he's been a spy for Dumbledore, and that even him killing Dumbledore was part of their plan. Well, it's predictable for me just because I, picked up on things of pop culture before, and then when I read the books, I knew the deal, going into that. And so, when it was oh yeah, Snape killed Dumbledore, I was like, well, Dumbledore is probably dying because of his hand, whatever's going on with that. So, yeah, I figured it out pretty quickly. But I feel like for a kid, growing up, it's the perfect twist for them to just have their minds blown. And I think that, yeah, so, someone who's lived with these characters for this far and hated this character for so long, and it's just wait, what? I think it's done really well, and I just really like the tone of the flashback. Because my read on Snape has always been that Snape never actually cared for Harry. I think when he looks at Harry, he doesn't like him because he sees too much of James in him. Everyone always says, hey, you have your mother's eyes, so she is there. But I think when he sees Harry, he just sees James. So it's not like he was being mean to Harry to oh, I'm such deep cover, Draco will talk good about me because I've been so mean to Harry this entire time. I think he's mean to Harry because he doesn't like Harry and he really still resents James all these years later. And so, but he still loved Lily, and so because of that, when he gave his word that he would look after Harry, and you don't have to like somebody in order to, keep your word to the one that you loved. And I think that's very interesting. And I think the flashback does a good job of showing Snape's conflicting feelings on the subject. Because when Dumbledore says he's got to die, it's actually Snape who's kind of defending him. It's you've lifted him up this far just to have him die? And he's like, why, Snape, you don't care for him, do you? And Snape realizes that in a small way, I think he did care for Harry. Just a little. I still think for the most part, he wasn't faking it, but I think he views it as, him letting Harry die, of him failing Lily, and I feel and it's really, really good. The performance that Alan Rickman gives off is just one of someone who is, very... he doesn't know what he feels really on the subject. He's in denial and he's fighting, but he will always side with the woman that he loves. So I think that the flashback itself, I think, was really, really well handled and really good, and I like the way that they tell the story through that flashback. And I think the emotions are there, and it rises the stakes so much. And I'm sure every kid was crying because they really thought Harry was going to die. That's to me is going to be the best scene of the movie. Worst scene of the movie, there's a lot of things in here that I wish that they did different, that they didn't even follow by the book. Because the book, in some areas, it's just Harry walked in. He saw that Lupin was dead. Oh no! And he saw that, George was dead. Was it George? Or, it was one of the twins was dead. Oh no! And he saw that, Tonks was dead. Oh no! He sees all these people that he's cared about die, and I was like, I hope in the movie we actually get to see it. We don't. Like, I don't even think in the movie we know which twin died, because it's just we see Ron going over and crying over one of his brothers being dead, but it's in, like, there's, like, music playing or whatever. And I'm just like, I really, really wish that we changed that up. Because, like, you don't have to be on Harry's butt every single step of the way. Let's change it up. Let's see other characters die, Let's see their sacrifice. Let's see them fighting the evil and the evil getting to them. I feel like them dying off screen, all three of those characters, was such a missed opportunity. I hated it. I didn't like it in the book. I didn't like it. I was hoping that the movie would change it up and we'd be able to see them fighting hard and sacrificing and dying, and just we don't see it. And I'm still pissed about that. But then, you could say, hey, they're following the book. I get that, I guess, but all that doesn't matter, because the worst scene for me is sliding their hands on rubbery in their faces, and then they land. What the F was that, okay? That's the one scene where I'm just like, what on earth was that? When Harry and Voldemort are flying around and it's all this rubbery, fake CGI crap, I'm just like, I thought we left this in Harry Potter 1, I thought we left this rubbery, crappy CGI all the way back there. But no, we gotta use it again. It was so terrible. And it took all the intimidation and the fear out of the moment for me, because now I'm just distracted by this ugly, crappy CGI scene. Come on, that was the worst timing for it too. Because I actually like the idea of it's Harry and Voldemort aside from everybody else. Because the book, they were like, okay, everyone gather around and watch Harry and Voldemort fight each other. It was just everyone was too cordial. Why are the bad guys just waiting around and letting this happen? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, having them separate, just in the battlefield, fighting for each other, and not having Harry explain it to Voldemort, actually, because that scene in the book I also really didn't like, because it felt like Harry was rules lowering him. It was like, well, actually, it was Draco that defeated Dumbledore, and then I defeated Draco, so that one belongs to me. Aha, you did. I don't like that. I like that it was more the event happened, everything happened, and then Voldemort dies, and then after he goes away, then he explains it to Ron and Hermione. That felt more natural and more just like it felt like it belonged like that better. I wish we knew when Harry figured that out. I wish we had figured that out. Maybe, did he know all the way back with the heist, or did he figure it out just recently? But yeah, also, one quick thing. I always did not like the ending of Harry Potter. And you might be like, what? We get to see all the head in the future, and all the good that has happened, and all the kids that he's had, and how he named his kid the worst name in the world. Albus Severus. Albus Severus. What the worst name? He's going by Al, and that is it. That kid is gonna be messed up. Yeah, I just think that it just feels too cheesy and schmaltzy, and why isn't the Malfoys arrested at least? At least the dad. I don't know. I get that they helped Harry, but just barely. Really? I still think they should have gone to jail. Anyway, but that's a complaint on the book. We're talking about the movies here. So let's move on from more scene, because there's, some scenes that don't work, but there's a lot of humorous scenes too. I like the scenes with Neville. I like let's move on. We'll get back to it. So a favorite performance of the movie, I'm going to give it to... See, I didn't feel like I felt like I saw anything special from the main three. I didn't feel like I saw anything too special from... Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort. So I'm actually going to give it, surprisingly, to Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. And you might be like, well, that seems like a little random. Yeah, sure, it's a little random, but the flashback is, to me, still the best part of the movie, and to see his conflicted feelings on everything and how he is reacting to everything. And even though a lot of it is quick, the scene, I think, has still the best acting in it. And so I'm going to put it as, Alan Rickman as Severus Snape is my favorite performance of this movie. But I already kind of talked about all of his, why I like that scene, the best scene part, so I'm going to move on to the most magical moment, and this I am going to just straight up say it's the spell of the defense of Hogwarts, when Professor McGonagall just says, for Hogwarts to be ready, and like all the soldiers come out, and she does that cute, I've always wanted to use that spell. And also R.I.P. to Maggie Smith. That's kind of another reason why I'm doing it now, is just like she has recently just died, and she was always great in this franchise, played that character perfect to a T, no complaints about her. She was just always so much fun, and I think this is one of her cute moments in here where she says how much she's always wanted to use this spell, and how they really go out trying to defend Hogwarts and everything. It's really, really good. I like that. I just feel like this scene where all the soldiers are coming out, it reminded me all the way back to Bedknobs and Broomsticks. It reminded me all the way about that scene where all the soldiers come out to defend the thing. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I just like that. That when I'm thinking about the magic in this movie, that is the most magical thing, not just the two lights hitting each other. I think. Okay, let's just. This is the final wrapping up, so let's just get into it. Now, when it comes to the Deathly Hallows Part 2, you might say that I might be a little hard in this film, but I'm going to put it number 6. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is more fun. I think that all the other movies had something else about them that I really, really liked. This film it didn't fully grab me. It had a few good scenes in it, but like a lot of stuff I always just felt like was just happening, and I was never emotionally hooked on to the characters as they were going through it. And so it wasn't the most compelling climax at the end for me personally. And I think even the first one, while it was a lot of meandering around in the woods, it had scenes that grabbed me, like the destroying of the first Horcrux, or stuff like that. Like in this, when stuff happens, sometimes it feels like Hermione and Ron, when they finally kiss, it feels so like random. Like a bunch of water splashes around and then they kiss. It's just like, why? I feel like it should have been something more intense to drive them to a kiss, or if they were going to split up or something. I don't know. It just feels weird. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the best paced of a movie. And that could be mostly because it's half of a book. For best scene, I'm putting Snape's reveal at number 4, just below the destroying of the Horcrux. I think the acting is really solid in this film. I think it tells the whole story very, very well. Like I feel like the book goes on into all the details, where this can't do that. It has to tell you all the stuff about how he knew his mother before, how everything happened, and all that, just quick. And it doesn't, it doesn't need to tell so much, because it just tells the story well in its quick little scenes and flashes. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like it tells the way of the responsibility of why Harry needs to sacrifice himself a lot clearer than the book did. I felt myself trying to say, did I remember that Harry was a Horcrux as well? Because it didn't feel like that's what I remembered. I didn't really get that in my head, but I just forgot. But it feels like a big detail to forget from reading the book. So I don't know. I feel like it still is really good way of telling it, and I feel like it's more straightforward in here. For the super stretchy, weird scene, where they're like flying around, it feels like it's from a cartoon. I'm gonna put that at number 4. I feel like even though it's bad, there are worse scenes in this franchise. I just feel like this one really takes the wind out of your sails just when we were finally starting to get somewhere. is just like so distracting and just like the worst timing. For favorite performance, I'm gonna put Snape at number 5. I feel like he doesn't have enough time in the movie for me to give him much higher than that. I feel like the scenes that he's in, though, is Alan Rickman's best in the film and the franchise. And so I think that number 5 is a good, solid spot. And for most magical moment, that one I'm going to put at number 4. I think that it's very magical, it's very epic, but there's other stuff in this franchise I think it's kind of middle of the road. I still liked it. I still think it was good, but I think I'm going to just leave it at number 4. And so, without further ado, it's time to finally wrap everything up of my view of the Harry Potter franchise. So let's take a look at where everything ended on the ranking board. At number 8, we have the Philosopher's Stone. And this is funny because this movie's kind of a mixed bag. Because for me, it's like, it has a lot of the best things and a lot of the worst things. Like it has the worst best scene that ended up at number 8. It has the number 1 worst scene, that CGI centaur, and just some of the effects in this movie just were really, really bad. And I don't think they ever got topped in terms of badness. It has my favorite performance of the whole franchise because, Emma Watson as Hermione was just like so right off the page, and at such a young age, I don't think anyone ever topped her. And even her, I don't think she topped herself in the other movies just because I feel like she got it right off the bat. It has, though, my number 1 most magical thing, the score. I feel like the score of this, and I don't think they utilize this score as much in the later films, and I feel like they should have. Just like the score is iconic, it's memorable, and you know what, I just think it worked. But still, overall, as a movie, it's kind of clunky. The acting by a lot of the performers just aren't up to snuff. I still remember Daniel Radcliffe, like in a scene where he's supposed to be afraid, and his stance is like, okay, I've been doing this all day. It's like it doesn't give off fear at all. So in the early goings, there was a lot of things they needed to work on. So I'm definitely leaving it as the last. The first shall be last, as it is. The first movie of the franchise is the worst one. Number 7, I have the Half-Blood Prince. I always say there's just like not a lot that happens in this movie, and then Dumbledore dies. That's how I summarize this film. Not a lot happened, then Dumbledore dies. I have the 6th best scene with Slughorn's confession. Pretty good acting in that, but still just nothing too special. The seventh worst scene is the I am the Half-Blood Prince. It's like it's a moment. But it's like it's not that bad. It's not like something super distracting. It's just like, oh, of course it was. It's yeah. 6th favorite performance, Slughorn's actor. It was really good, but not one of my favorites of the franchise. And then the 7th most magical scene is getting the Horcrux and all of that goes on. It's nice and it's handled well, and there's a lot of magical energy you feel going into the scene, but it's just not one that's filled with a lot of whimsy and wonder. And not to say that the dark moments can't still be magical, it just doesn't feel. It's not the same feel, so yeah. Number 6. Definitely Hallows Part 2. I was really hoping the last one would really, go out with a bang, but it has a lot of good moments, like the Snape's reveal. I put that as the 4th best scene. That's pretty high. It also has the 4th worst scene, though, with the super stretchy moment where, Voldemort and Harry are like, it feels really, really bad. So yeah, that's great. 5th favorite performance with Alan Rickman. I think this is his best performance out of all, because the other ones he just is a douche. Like that's basically what his character is, and here we finally get to see some depth from him as an actor and as a character. So I'm gonna put that as that. And 4th most magical. It's funny. It's number 6. I have it at number 6, and then 4, 4, 5, 4. That's how it all is with this one. The massive castle defensive spell that went up. That's pretty good. I like that. Number 5 is The Prisoner of Azkaban. I asked online what was the movie that everyone considers to be the best well-made Harry Potter film, and this one was the one that came up. And so I don't know what it was that I didn't really connect with this film. I think it had a few continuity errors, like the Whomping Willow was in the middle of the courtyard in the last film, and then this one it's all the way out in the middle of nowhere. It was like we just had those. I had a complaint that was a kind of a lame complaint. I was like, they're just wearing modern clothing. Where's the robes? And I'm just like, it wasn't the greatest complaint. That one wasn't. That was kind of lame because like the rest of the franchise, they're wearing modern clothes. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm too hard on it. It has the 7th best scene. There wasn't really a whole lot of this movie that like struck out to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing scene with the Patronus was pretty cool, but it wasn't like that amazing to me. Number 8th worst scene. So it has the least worst scene, and it's the aha, I got you, drop your wand. Aha, I got you, drop your wand. Aha, I got you. It just I don't know. I always felt that was really weird and rushed and stuff. 4th favorite performance, Sirius Black. I feel like the way that Gary Oldman came at that character and portrayed him as like half manic from being crazed, being in this prison with the Dementors, but also like determined to finally get his revenge on the man who wronged him and betrayed them all those years ago, I thought was really, really good. And 6th most magical thing, the time travel shenanigans. I think that works. I think that's all, pretty much how I feel about it. I think that as the time travel shenanigans go, they were fun, they were enjoyable, but there was more magical things about it. So next one, I have Deathly Hallows Part 1. I have the 3rd best scene, destroying the Horcrux, because I feel like that scene, it was just one of the most shocking scenes, just in general. Is like it hit me in a way that I was not expecting it to. It has the 6th worst scene, so it's not the worst, but just Ron leaving again. I'm like, do we have to do this again, where one of the characters doesn't like the characters and then comes back to the group? I'm like, we've already done that a few times at this point. 7th favorite performance of Voldemort. Like, this was the first time he had scenes where I felt he was actually creepy and intimidating, but it was also, like, not a lot, so that's why it's not very high. And then the 3rd best magical moment, which is a pretty high thing, the Deathly Hallows story, the telling of it and the animation on that, I thought was really, really cool. And, it gave it a legend and some lore and some depth, I really felt. Number 3, in the top 3, I have number 3, Chamber of Secrets. And I feel like I'm higher on this film than a lot of other people are, I'm guessing. Because, Daniel Radcliffe, he's fine, but his acting is still a little stiff in this movie. But the practical effects, like, I still have, number 1, best scene out of all the scenes is the spider scene from Chamber of Secrets. Because the effects on that were practical and they looked amazing and it was terrifying. And some of the other uses of practical effects in this scene, in this movie, with the giant snake creature, they used practical effects on that. It just felt so good. It was just like, okay, I love that we're actually using real effects and not all just overblown CGI. There is CGI, but it's like the perfect mix of mingled together, and I just feel like this movie was such a step up from the first one. Worst scene, I just like second worst scene. Just Dumbledore says some vague things about loyalty and Hogwarts will help, and then Harry kind of repeats it back, and then we got a Deus Ex Machina. I don't know. I just found that was really dumb and just like it felt very bookish. Like, was there actually a plan, or was this just like happened to? I don't know. 8th favorite performance, Moni Myrtle. She was fun in this. I thought she was, a lot of fun, but I feel like, there's just a lot more depth performances that happen in the franchise down the road. Most magical thing, I have the 2nd, I think the practical effects really, really just bring this whole movie together, and I really, really enjoy it. And I like that. Number 2, I have my favorite book of the franchise, The Goblet of Fire. I think it has the second best scene in the entire franchise, which is Harry returning after his encounter with Voldemort with Cedric Diggory's body. Like the way that he comes back and everyone's like, oh, happy, hey, Harry's back. And then as everyone slowly realizes what happened and Harry is just saying, get away from him. And like the acting is so good in that moment. And then the dad of Cedric Diggory comes down and just like everything just shifts in such a dramatic tone. And then of course the stuff happens when you find out with Mad-Eye Moody, and it's like, holy crap. Like all of that is just so perfectly well done that I think it's the best acting in this franchise in that moment, and I think it deserves that spot. Number 3, it has the third worst part, and that's the super rush beginning. Like, and I knew that it was going to be a problem for this because like the World Cup, it takes so much time and so much explanation, and there's a decent setup that needs to happen, and yet it's just like so much. And so in here it's just like, hi, I'm Harry, here's the World Cup, and it's over. And it's like, it was just so quickly, and yeah, so it wasn't great, but it is what it is. It has my second favorite performance with Daniel Radcliffe in this movie. I just felt like the way he portrayed, like, trying to figure out what's going on, why he's in this goblet tournament, what is really happening, and also, being distracted with other stuff going on as well. And then at the end, when everything finally hits, I think that he just portrayed it really well, and I think it's been his best acting in the series. 8th most magical moment, the return of Voldemort. Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of magic and whimsy. And like some of the scenes that did have it, I was like distracted. Like you might ask, well, what about the dragon scene? It's like, I'm just wondering where the heck the other teachers are when the dragon breaks loose of his chains and chases after Harry. That's not something he should have had to have faced on his own. The fact that there's a whole chase sequence there, and everyone's like, wow, I wonder who's responsible for that. Oh wait, I'm a teacher, it's me. Like that's what should have happened, it's like, but, so yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of like, I guess the underwater scene, maybe I should have put that, but still, the most magical part of Voldemort's return still is a creepy return. I do like that Cedric just gets instantly killed, no fanfare, no nothing, just Avada Kedavra, dead, boom. I loved that part of it. So yeah, I'm gonna, A Goblet of Fire is number 2 on my favorites. And number 1, and it's funny, I was looking at this and like none of these ranked really high. Like, Order of the Phoenix is the number 1 best Harry Potter movie in my mind on my first watch through of all of them. And the reason is I feel like the plot and the structure work really well for a movie. Like, the setup, the things that the characters are doing in it just work really well. I say it has the 5th best scene, which is the wizard's duel of Voldemort and Dumbledore dueling each other. It's the biggest magic I still think that we see in the franchise. I don't think we've seen like anybody top it. That has the 5th worst scene with... there's a moment where Harry is supposed to be carrying Dudley, but Dudley is so much taller that Harry, it looks like Dudley is like carrying Harry under his arm. 3rd favorite performance in Dolores Umbridge. You're like, what, it's 5th, 3rd, and what was the last one? Yeah, 5th. So you're like, oh, your stuff isn't really that high. It's like, yeah, but it's the whole, Individual moments is how I'm ranking these things, but it's the whole. It has one of the most hateable villains in the entire franchise as a whole. It has Harry going through some of the darkest moments of his life, and that he's trying to reach out to Dumbledore for support and care, and Dumbledore is shutting him out, but you don't understand why till the end. And it has moments of Harry going through these struggles, but it also has moments where the character isn't just letting everything get to him. I love the whole concept of Harry teaching these kids the defense against the dark arts, the stuff that he's picked up along his journeys along the way, and training them in that art. I love those scenes. I love the it's all come together in that regard. There's a lot of humor in this. As I was just about to say, the scene that I have as the most magical is the chaos of the twins, when they just outright just destroy all the rules and make a fool out of Umbridge and basically drop out with a double middle finger to her on the way out the door. It's such a great scene, and I just think that it handles the plot almost better than I remembered in the book. I remember there's a lot more meandering around, and I feel like it just works very, very well for this film. I think that, yeah, Order of the Phoenix, which is not even one of my favorite books, but I think the movie itself is the best movie of the franchise, bar none. And I think that is all I really have to say about the Harry Potter movies. Thanks for watching all of these, if you've gotten through them all, and I hope that when we see Harry Potter because it is being made into a TV show, I hope that, like, I don't know what I hope for it, because, like, I don't need, like, an episode for every chapter of the movie, of the book, you know? That will get extremely tedious and extremely stretched out. But I hope that what they do is realize that while they should take a lot of inspiration from the book, you don't have to have Harry in every single moment and every single scene. I want it to spread out. Like, let's have the point of view of other characters at other points of time. You know, I want to see the whole world come together. And I just, like, there's certain things in the books, like, as I said, where, like, characters would die off screen. And I'm like, I want to see their sacrifice. And I hope that in the way that the book handles it, then they'll do their best. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Lazy Dude, and yeah, bye. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.